So you agree with the Republicans taking away maternity leave, policy of taking away food stamps, of taking away welfare, Donald Trump's executive order, making it more difficult for seniors to get insulin capped at $35, the biggest tax breaks for the top 1% in this country, pardoning a bunch of January 6th insurrectionist white supremacists. If you call yourself pro-life, are you okay with any of those quote-unquote policies of the Trump administration?
I wish all these people that call into your show that hate Donald Trump, I wish everybody would just go out, live their life, do what they want to do, and just quit worrying about all this stuff. I mean, shows like your show, shows like Sean Hannity, all those Fox shows, the only thing they show to try to sow division between everybody.
So you think
everybody up
all right. So Tom, you think I sow division?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Criticizing our politicians, for example, a 34-count felon and did we lose? I don't know what just happened there. Okay, sorry about that. So criticizing our politicians or calling out our politicians, for example, what took place on January 6th, or the fact that some people are losing access to prescription medications, you think that's dividing people for calling out truth, and you're comparing me to Sean Hannity?
Yeah, all politicians suck.
I disagree.
Every single one of them.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. I disagree with you, by the way. I think a lot of them do. We'll agree on that. So did you vote this time around?
No.
So you think Kamala Harris was just as much of a threat to our democracy and to this country as Donald Trump? You tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me why. Why do you think Kamala... We'll get to Donald Trump. I'm happy to do that. But tell me why you think Kamala Harris was a threat to our democracy.
I just don't think she's competent with what she does. Just the way she carries herself, the way she talks, the way she cackles about everything.
So you didn't vote for Kamala Harris because she cackles, and you decided not to...
That's not the only
Okay,
reason.
well, why is she not here? Okay, but hold on. Let's go one by one. You don't like her cackle, which I think is absurd. I don't care the way someone laughs, and you don't think she's competent. Okay, let's talk about that. She passed the bar. She became the attorney general twice. She then was elected as a senator, a very highly educated woman who's never been in trouble with the law before. She's a good mother. She's a good wife. And she's a pretty intelligent lady in getting to where she is. So when you say she's not competent, can you be specific and give me an example of why you think she's not competent? Because I can give you about 1,000 examples of Donald Trump.
There's 1,000 people out there that have passed the bar.
Okay, so give me an example. Okay, so you don't think you don't think you're smart if somebody passes the bar. Apparently you don't think they're smart if they become the
that's not what I said at all. There's
competent.
Thousands of people that do that.
Okay, so why do you think, give me an example of why you think, you're right.
That doesn't qualify them to be president.
Okay, I agree with you. But you said
every attorney, every state attorney is not qualified to be president.
Okay.
Every senator, that doesn't necessarily qualify them to be president.
Okay, so what is it about Kamala Harris that you think did not qualify her?
I just don't think she would make a good president. I mean,
okay, but you
just president.
But
she wasn't a good vice president.
Okay, but so being a good vice president, is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can be a good vice president. Think about what you're saying, but you're still not qualified to be president.
I said I didn't think she was a good vice president.
Okay. So you don't like, so tell me why. What are some policies? Be specific. You're saying, like, if I said Donald Trump's a bad guy, you would say, okay, well, what has he done that makes him a bad guy? The cheating, the lying, the felonies. I could give you a lot of different examples, right? You're saying she's not competent. Tell me what she has done in her career that would lead you to believe.
The whole thing with the border, that was a disaster.
The whole thing with the border. You mean the thing where
you will not let nobody talk. Every time somebody says 3 words, you interject and interrupt them.
You haven't been specific in a 5-minute conversation.
Go. Let me finish.
What about the border? Go ahead.
She was appointed border czar.
No, she wasn't. Everything you say is wrong. Mayorkas was the border czar. How can I have a conversation with you with literally every word out of your mouth is not factual? That's why I interrupt people.
Did Biden not come on TV and say that he was her over the border?
Sir, Mayorkas.
Did Biden say that?
Sir.
Did Biden say,
regardless,
did Biden say that?
Sir, I need you to listen.
Did Biden say that?
Bottom down. Hey, dummy. I'm calling to call you a dummy now. Mayorkas was assigned the border czar. Kamala Harris was not the border czar. Joe Biden had a lot of hiccups and he said a lot of things because he wasn't the same person he was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I'm giving you facts. Mayorkas was the border czar. So you've criticized Kamala Harris for the border. You called her the border czar, which she was not. And she was one of the people that orchestrated the bipartisan border bill put forth by MAGA Republicans and Democrats. So now that you're wrong on that, give me another example, because Mayorkas was the border czar. So you're wrong there. Give me example number 2. Why was she not competent? Go ahead, sir.
I just don't think she was. I just don't.
You just don't. What policy did you not
See,
like?
There you go. Will you let somebody finish the sentence?
I am. What policies did you not like? What policies did you not
like her? I don't like her stance on abortion. I don't like her stance on transgender.
What was the policy?
That is just...
Okay, one at a time. So I don't want you to name me 10. So that's fine. You don't like her stance on abortion. Okay, so so you don't believe a woman should have the right to choose. Is that what you're saying, sir?
Yeah, she has the right to choose.
Okay, well, that was her policy. What was her abortion policy? What was her abortion policy?
If you don't want a baby, don't have sex.
Okay.
That's your choice.
Do you believe the women okay, so you're anti-abortion. You don't like her.
Yes.
You think, okay, so in 25 states right now, abortion is illegal. In some of those states, women, if they are sexually assaulted, the word starts with the letter R, or the victim of incest, they have to be forced to have that baby. Are you okay with that policy, sir?
You do not have to be. You can go somewhere else to get an abortion.
Geography. So according to you, geography should have say in a woman's body when it comes to sexual assault or when it comes to incest. You think geography is a good policy. Is that what you're saying, sir?
It's not a woman's body that she is killing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is a woman's body. Okay, so you think that geography should dictate what a woman can do with her body. Now, I think that's totally asinine, but okay, you call yourself a pro-lifer, right? Is that a fair characterization, sir? You call, yes or no? Yes or no? There's a reason why I'm asking, sir. Do you consider yourself a pro-lifer? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so you agree with the Republicans taking away maternity leave, policy of taking away food stamps, of taking away welfare, Donald Trump's executive order, making it more difficult for seniors to get insulin capped at $35, the biggest tax breaks for the top 1% in this country, pardoning a bunch of January 6th insurrectionist white supremacists. If you call yourself pro-life, are you okay with any of those quote-unquote policies of the Trump administration? Policies?
No, I'm not. Those policies are wrong, too. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so you named me abortion, okay? You call yourself pro-life. Can you give me another example? First, you said she wasn't competent, which is absurd. You didn't give me any examples of why she's not competent. And you talked about her policies. Let's take aside abortion for a moment. By the way, more people in this country disagree with you and believe in a woman's right to choose, but that's okay. All right, let's move on to another one. Give me another policy of Kamala Harris that you thought was a bad policy that made you the decision that I'm not going to vote for her or Trump. Go ahead.
Men and women's sports.
Men and women sports. What about it, sir? Kamala Harris never flat out said that I'm okay with naturally born men transition to women competing. She never had a policy on that.
The whole administration did.
No. You see, you're conflating the two. Joe Biden is the one that makes policy. The vice president does not make policy. So you're wrong there. Give me number 3 because you were wrong on number 2. Kamala Harris did not.
The only thing I'm trying to say, I'm not taking up for any politician. I'm saying they all.
Okay, backtrack. We're talking about Kamala Harris. I'm happy to have this conversation with you. You just said her policy of transgenders playing sports. She never implemented a policy on that. So you're wrong on that. So let's go to number 3. Go ahead, sir. I'll give you the platform. Go ahead.
So what policies did she implement then if she didn't do anything when she was vice president?
You're the one making the argument, not me. I can tell you when she ran for office and campaigned, I'll give you some of her policies that she wanted to implement if she wanted to become the president of the United States.
Okay,
raising minimum wage, maternity leave, giving a woman the right to choose, for example. She was pushing the bipartisan bill, which she said if she became president, she would get Republicans and Democrats back at the table. She wanted to implement that. She wanted to give a $25,000 down payment for those that are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, to buy a home. Prescription drugs. She wanted to continue to implement Joe Biden's policy of capping insulin at $35, giving it for Plan B and Plan D, which allowed millions of Americans cheaper insulin. Donald Trump signed an executive order abolishing that, going back to his original plan. I can go on, sir. I can give you 20 more policies. You've called Kamala Harris the border czar. That is factually inaccurate. You claim that she had a policy with transgenders in sports. Not true. Never implemented that. Never said that she was okay with naturally born men competing with women. So you're wrong about that as well. You've called her incompetent. You haven't given me any examples except for her cackle. Do you see where I'm going with this, sir? Can you please?
No.
Go ahead.
The only thing I know, the economy was a lot stronger under Trump.
Not true. Not true. The economy was a lot stronger under Trump. Sir, you have no idea what you're talking about. When Donald Trump left office, we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID. We were locked up in our rooms. We had COVID. We had a war in Ukraine. Compared to all the other G7 countries in the world, we were number one, and inflation went dramatically down. Infrastructure bill, for example, Chips and Science Act, unemployment rate at record lows that we've had in 50 years. In the first 3.5 weeks of Donald Trump's administration, gas prices have gone up. The price of eggs have gone up. Inflation is up 3%. You don't know what you're talking about.
The war in Ukraine didn't start till 2022.
Uh-huh. And guess who was president during that time? Joe Biden, right? Yeah, it kind of affects the economy a little bit. But you see, when Joe Biden left,
you said we had a war in Russia. With the war in Russia and Ukraine started when Trump was in office.
Never said that. I never said the war.
I
said COVID. I never said the war in the Ukraine started under Trump.
Yes,
You're pivoting, sir. Okay, sir, guess what? Then
had...
you probably misheard me. The war started in Ukraine under Joe Biden. It is a cause and effect to the economy. Can you please explain to me where the economy is at right now in the first month of Donald Trump's administration? Can you explain the fact that we had the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years under Joe Biden? Can you explain the fact that the NASDAQ was through the roof? Infrastructure jobs, manufacturing jobs, through the roof, even after. Do you understand the economy that Donald Trump took over after Barack Obama, and the economy that Donald Trump left Joe Biden, and the economy that Joe Biden left Donald Trump? Can you come to an understanding of that, or are you unaware?
Only thing I know, when me and my family go to the grocery store now, we're paying double.
Yeah, right, because Donald Trump's the president and the price of inflation.
Trump's been president
I just said in 3 weeks the price went up 3%. Inflation went up 3%. But let me ask you a question.
How much did it?
Let me ask you a question.
How much did it go up?
It went down. It went down to under 3% when he left office. But let me ask you a question. Inflation. Yeah, I'm the ignorant one. You're the one that hasn't. Okay, so let me ask you a question, Mr. Ignorant. Let me ask you a question, you MAGA buffoon. Inflation was up all over the world under Joe Biden's administration when he was in office, all over the world. So let me ask you a few questions about that. Is that Joe Biden's fault that inflation was up all over the world, or is there cause and effect, sir? What do you think that is? We were number one compared to the G7 countries, the richest countries in the world. Are you aware of that, sir? Speaking of ignorant, are you aware of that? Go ahead.
When were groceries cheaper? When Biden was in?
No, you're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. Inflation was up all over the world. Do you blame Joe Biden for that, or is there a cause and effect? Answer the question.
When were groceries cheaper? When Biden was in, or when Trump was in?
I'm not asking you to answer a question with a question. Answer mine.
I'm asking you.
I'm asking you a question, and it's my show. You dope. You either answer. I'll tell you what. If you haven't answered one of my questions, I'll answer yours if you answer mine. Okay, dope. Okay, MAGA clown. Okay.
So you can't answer.
Hey, MAGA clown, shut up. Hey, dumbass. I just said I'm going to ask you a question, and then after you answer mine, I will answer yours. Get the MAGA wax out of your ears, dope. Inflation was up all over the world. Is that Joe Biden's fault? And the fact that we were number one compared to all the other G7 countries compared to inflation. But the fact that inflation was up all over the world, is that all Joe Biden's fault? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Yes. Why is it Trump's fault?
Pot him down. So this idiot is calling me ignorant, and he just said, wow, this is a new level of stupidity. Inflation was up all over the world, and that's Joe Biden's fault. Sir, what is your IQ and what is your education? You might be one of the dumbest callers I've ever had. You're saying that inflation all over the world is Joe Biden's fault. Surely you could come up with a policy or a couple policies to explain to me why gas was up all over the world and 98% of the world inflation was up. You're saying that was all Joe Biden's fault. Are you serious?
Will you answer my question now since I answered yours?
No. You just gave me the
Exactly.
earth is flat. Okay, dumbass.
You said
All right,
answer
you give me a stupid answer. 2 + 2 = 3. Go ahead and ask your stupid question, but I think we've proven who the moron is. Go ahead. Go ahead, dumbass. Go ahead, dumbass.
When were groceries higher, when Trump was in or when Biden was in?
When were groceries higher, when Trump was in or when Biden was in? So you see, sir, it's very, very simple. There's something called, I'm answering it. Shut up. Pot him down again. I can't answer if you start talking trash. I can't answer. You and Kid Rock have a lot in common. So you see, sir, we were in the heart of the pandemic when Donald Trump left office, when we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day. It's called cause and effect, but you don't understand what that is. You just say, well, when Biden took over, the first year of Biden in office, that inflation was high, so that's all on Joe Biden. And you see, I'm doing impersonation of you, sir. And you know what? All over the world, inflation was high. That's also on Joe Biden. Sir, you're not a serious person. You're extremely ignorant and ill-informed. And by the way, I don't believe you. You voted for Donald Trump, didn't you, sir? Answer the question. I think you're a liar. You voted for Donald Trump. Admit it. You lied at the beginning of this call. You voted for Donald Trump because surely there's nobody as dumb as you could possibly be and not vote for Donald Trump. I don't believe you sat this one out. Will you admit that you voted for the orange orangutan, please? Will you at least be honest with me?
I'm still waiting on you to answer my question.
No, sir. I did answer the question. It's my show and not yours. I'll ask you one more time. Did you vote for the orange orangutan, or are you just a racist that didn't want to vote for a woman because she happens to be a woman of color? Just admit that you voted for Donald Trump. Admit it. Admit it. Admit it. Admit it. You voted for Trump. Admit it. You voted for Trump. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, sir. So we've learned a lot in that phone call. We've learned that Joe Biden is responsible for inflation all over the world. He said Kamala Harris was incompetent, but he couldn't give one example as to why she's incompetent. He said she was a bad vice president and thought that she implemented transgender laws, which, by the way, she didn't. That's 100% not true as vice president. She didn't implement any laws. And I don't believe him. I think he voted for Donald Trump.